layups. Jeff Neubauer's Colonels, all upperclassmen, led in scoring by Glenn Cozy, a senior from Flint, Michigan. And, of course, Kansas with its heralded freshman, Andrew Wiggins, one of 2 freshman starters for the Jayhawks, along with Wayne Selden Jr. And, of course, they're going to start the tournament without Joel Embiid, who is out with tournament history of 15s defeated at 2. And Kansas will have the first possession here. And this is a man to watch today, Nadir Tharp, their point guard.
Yeah, he is going to be pressured constantly, but this guy right here, to me, Perry Ellis, we know about Andrew Wiggins and how special he is, but Perry Ellis' ability to do just that, score on the interior, will determine whether or not Eastern Kentucky can compete.
Ellis was the player that Neubauer, the coach of Eastern Kentucky, identified as the guy they have to control, try to keep him in single digits, but he has a basket just seconds into the game.
Yeah, and exactly in a way in which Coach Neubauer doesn't want to see it occur in terms of them being able to get the ball into the paint. That's where Kansas has a decided advantage. But how about Cozy? They talked about his ability from beyond. How about that triple?
Yeah, he falls to the floor after he hits the 3, and they force the turnover. And this is what they do, as you warned us.
Only Louisville is better at turning you over, and nobody really any better than Mr. Cozy.
Had 110 threes coming into the tournament, and there is Neubauer in his 9th year, a longtime assistant to John Beeline, first at Richmond and later West Virginia. And they have a +6 advantage in the turnover margin, and that's going to count for Eric Stutz.
And that's a great example right there, Jim, of them spacing the floor. And then those pick and roll opportunities present themselves because there's no weak side help, because you have to honor that three-point shot. They tend to always have 3 to 4 three-point shooters on the floor.
Oh, there's the lob and the putback. It's Ellis. A lob slipped through the fingertips, but Ellis was on the far side in the right position for 2 more. He's got the first 4 for the Jayhawks. This is an Eastern Kentucky team that played in some hostile environments this year, including at NC State, at Wisconsin, at Virginia Commonwealth. They got off to some big starts at North Carolina State and at VCU. Had big first half leads before later losing. And the 3-point shot doesn't drop. That was Marcus Lewis, but ball on the floor and a tie-up, and it belongs to the Colonels.
And again, one of the luxuries when you play with 4 guards, which in essence is what Eastern Kentucky does, they're always attacking the basketball. They're able to force the tie-up and change possession.
Bill Self, 11 years on the Kansas bench, 11 trips to the NCAA Tournament, a couple of Final Fours, and a national title in 2008. Eastern Kentucky, from Richmond, Kentucky, about 30 miles south of Lexington. Terrius Johnson whips it to the far side. Cozy's already hit 1 3. He's got another! Man, can this kid shoot?
He's done it really ever since he's been at Eastern Kentucky, and with each shot that falls, the confidence level of the Colonels rises.
Down low to block. He's doubled up. Back outside, and there's a 3 by Kansas. Off the mark by Selden Jr. But right back to him they go, and it's not going to count. It's going to be an offensive foul.
A great job there of establishing that position there by Terrius Johnson. Always difficult in a scramble to be able to recognize where the ball is. He does a terrific job of holding position and forcing the charge.
The Colonels won their conference tournament by beating Belmont, which has been a semi-regular in the NCAAs in recent years, beating Belmont for the automatic. Here's a 3, back of the rim, long rebound to Tharp.
Kansas likes to play fast, as does Eastern Kentucky. But in playing fast, you don't want to lose the identity of pounding the ball inside if you're the Jayhawks.
Double up on Black, and his last touch by Cozy. Stays with Kansas. Now they've overturned the call.
And you can see as soon as they get it on the block, you're going to see the quick double team. And that's the right call off of Selden. And you see also the difference when Ellis gets it on the block. He's the one guy that is a polished back-to-the-basket post player now without envy.
Back door they go, and they score with Walden with the assist from Stutz.
And anytime you can space a team out because of that ability to shoot the three, and without Embiid being in the game, that opens up those back doors and attacks at the rim.
Tharp banks it home.
And Tharp, you talked about it. He's going to be important, not just his ability to score, but to make sure that Kansas doesn't lose their identity and take advantage of their presence on the interior.
Cozy. Shut him down this time. And into the paint. Tough shot. Off the mark by Lewis. Tharp dribbled it off his own back and was able to recover. Now the loose ball, and it's going to be a foul call on Kansas. Lewis forced it. What a start by Eastern Kentucky, and you can tell this Jeff Neubauer team is well coached, forcing 5 turnovers already. Embiid can do nothing but watch through today's game, and if they advance Sunday as well. Eastern Kentucky off to a good start here. And here's Walden. Finding Cousins, 2 for 2. Make it 3 of 3 from all 3 behind the arc.
And they're doing such a good job with their body and ball movement here early, just putting Kansas on their heels.
They lob it to Ellis. Doubled up, and it's going to be a foul call on Stutz. So Ellis will go to line for 2.
Yeah, but watch the penetration. Forces that help there by Tharp, who loses sight of the most dangerous offensive weapon that Eastern Kentucky has. Cozy, all-conference Ohio Valley this year, just had a terrific season and has had a terrific career.
By the way, they changed that foul to Terrius Johnson, not Stutz. You can watch the games on your Amazon Kindle, Android phone, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness.
And the other thing we want to keep an eye on as this first half starts to evolve, fouls. Only 1 team foul thus far for Eastern Kentucky. And remember the importance of staying out of foul trouble. It allows you to stay aggressive. Although this team is deep, they'll play 10 guys to continue to put that pressure on, and they all have the ability to hurt you on both ends.
Here's Johnson driving past Wiggins. And he is rejected by Black, and they have 8 seconds to shoot.
Terrific job there by Black, going vertical, taking the hit, and then just coming down at the very end to come up with that block. Terrific defense.
Connor Frankkamp comes in for Kansas, number 23. Again, no reset on the shot clock, so Cozy puts up the 3, his first miss. And it's Wiggins who has barely touched the basketball.
And this is one of the problems with the pressure of this defense. They're speeding up Kansas in the half court.
And they take it away from Wiggins. I thought it might be a tie-up, but they let it play. And eventually Walden was able to strong-arm it. Four steals already forced by the Colonels.
And 6 total turnovers.
Defensive play made that time by Black. Up ahead, Wiggins, and that's going to be on Eastern Kentucky. It's going to be a call against Walden.
Early on, though, the perimeter quickness of Eastern Kentucky, Kansas is struggling with. They haven't seen a lot of teams with this much quickness and anticipation in terms of activity with the hands. And it takes time to adjust to it, Jim.
Orlando Williams, you saw him come in for the first time for Eastern Kentucky, number 15, and he can shoot it too from the outside. Frankkamp inbounds, and he gets it back. Takes it out high. Cozy defending.
But look at where Kansas has to start their offense. Nice shot there by Frankamp, but they are initiating their offense 35, 40 feet from the basket, which is the goal of Eastern Kentucky, to not allow them to get that ball consistently into the paint.
Here's Williams, who just entered. To Johnson, to Cozy, who has 9 points. Over to Walden, open 3. Couldn't ask for a better look. Ellis, the only one underneath. Frankamp, the freshman, coming right on to the floor and hitting his first shot. Now driving. Bounce pass to Wiggins. His first shot is a dunk.
And how about the job really that Frankamp has done? He's come in the last 2 possessions. Doesn't let the pressure take him out of running their offense. That's the key. When you extended pressure, oftentimes what you're trying to do is force the opponent to play one-on-one basketball and not stay within the principles of their half-court offense. Terrific job by Frankamp on that possession.
You're right, 2 possessions, a make and an assist. Beautiful assist at that. Here's Williams giving it up to Walden as they work it outside with 5 on the clock. Cozy dish. Stutz is fouled on the way up.
And because Frankamp hits that first jump shot, you see the penetration there, and they just lose sight of him. And Wiggins just such an explosive athlete, especially when he gets a head of steam going towards the basket.
The Big 12 Freshman of the Year. No surprise at that. Stutz, meanwhile, a junior from Newburgh, Indiana, will shoot another one. And subs come in for Kansas. Traylor enters for the first time. And they also bring in Frank Mason, the freshman from Petersburg, Virginia. Studs 1 of 2.
We'll move Frankamp over to the 2, so it gives them another ball handler on the floor to deal with the pressure. But again, look at where they're having to initiate offense. Defense is about disrupting timing and spacing, and here early on they're making Kansas play a lot of one-on-one basketball.
Wiggins on the baseline, jumper rattles out. Traylor inside, and he is fouled. Will be shooting free throws out of the break. Eastern Kentucky had a lead of 7 at one time. It's down to 3. 12 minutes till first half.
A real pleasant journey the last few years for the Duke Blue Devils.
It's Traylor shooting one more, and to think that they had the game not that far from the Durham campus, played in Raleigh, but Mercer came out and got the good start against them and never backed down.
Well, Jim, we've talked about this so often. There's just not the separation in college basketball anymore between the elites and the others, if you will. The confidence and the belief is there by these teams. You're seeing it on display here right now with this Eastern Kentucky squad.
Johnson just comes in for Walden, who went to the bench for 2 fouls and loads up a 3 and misfires. No, you're talking about a Mercer team, started all 5 seniors. Yeah. And that is of tremendous value now, as we're seeing over the course of the last 2 days. That experience, more than ever, proven to be such a factor.
And how about the fact you get an offensive foul there on Traylor? How about the fact our 2 number 1s that have played thus far, one wins by 12, the other by 9. That speaks to the fact that we have far more parity in college basketball.
The next number 1 seed to play will be Wichita State on this floor in the first game of tonight's doubleheader here in St. Louis. Virginia will go late tonight. Back in Raleigh. Here's Johnson giving it up to another Terrius Johnson. And he traveled. First turnover committed by the Colonels.
And this group for Kansas, a good job of being in tune defensively. Terrific job there by Perry Ellis of being able to move his feet and to keep a much quicker player in front of him and create the turnover.
Mason off the hands of Wiggins. We talked about the first turnover committed by Eastern at the other end. That is now the 8th by Kansas.
And the good news is if you're -7 in turnovers, yet you only trail by 2. So that's the one positive if you're looking at it from Kansas' standpoint. And also, if you're Eastern Kentucky, you now know you have the ability to turn over Kansas and create opportunities in the open floor.
Here's Isaac McGlone handling the basketball. His first action. Colonels have missed their last 5 shots. Williams, who can really fire it, 42% from 3. Drives home Wiggins. Wiggins got it.
Goodness.
Fingertip on it, but the putback goes Terrius Johnson.
Yeah, the quickness to the basketball there by Johnson, impressive, as was that block by Wiggins.
And Wiggins slumbers over to that loose ball. And again, Eastern Kentucky, the team right now that is getting all of the action when it comes to loose balls.
They're making Kansas uncomfortable. How about here, the gather and the get to deflection, but Johnson there just quicker to the basketball.
Three subs on the floor right now for the Colonels. As you said, they're deep. Here's Johnson, another 3. And pulled down by Terrius Johnson. Stripped away, though, by Ellis. Ellis reached in and forced the takeaway. And the shot drops. 2-point shot by Frank Camp.
And he has given Kansas a really nice boost. Really, the bench in general is giving them a nice boost here in this first half.
Posey down low, and he scores right over the top.
First time we've seen him get a basket inside that three-point line. And how about this early on, Jim? Kansas, more turnovers, 9 than field goals. Only 7.
Ellis. Ball on the floor, and of course it's Eastern Kentucky right now getting them all. Terrius Johnson slashes between 2 defenders and is fouled in the act of shooting.
And you heard us talking earlier, folks, about right now Kansas is starting to play Eastern Kentucky's game. They want to play fast as Kansas. They like to run their early offense for transition. But right now the shot selection not quite where Bill Self would like it.
Frank Camp called on the foul. Terrius Johnson hits the first. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Prove it. Visit the Coke Zero social arena in March Madness Live. So Ellis goes to the bench for a breather.
If you look at it,
Selden comes in for him, Greg.
Sorry, Kansas dominating the backboard. They're +6, but that's offset really by the turnovers. Remember, it's all about those possessions and the free throws, the turnovers, the three-pointers. If you can win in those areas, it can offset the differential on the backboard.
Johnson gets the generous roll, and he's replaced by Timmy Nip. And the lead is back up to 6. Nip, a junior from Olive Hill, Kentucky. Gives him about 4 points a game off the bench. Backdoor they go, but stripped away by Stutz. Posey, 3. Yes, sir!
And the live ball turnover right there. Kansas, Jim, they're going to struggle. You saw that turnover leads to a cross match in transition.
St. Louis, Jim and Greg.
All right, thank you, Greg. And Kansas now comes down the floor out of the break. Loads up a 3 with Tharp. And Traylor keeps the possession going for the Jayhawks. Right back to Tharp. Bypasses a shot this time and has it stolen away.
And Tharp is really just struggling with this pressure. The offense just not flowing well when he's been in the game. That's going to have to change. They're going to need him. That's 11 turnovers already here in this first half. 7 steals by the Colonels.
Backdoor they go. The shot's not there for Williams. Takes it up back high to Nip. Williams hasn't loaded up the shot yet. Dish, a beautiful one underneath Stutz. Back out to him. Here's Nip. He can shoot it. 3. No. Black soars in for the rebound. Snaps it up midcourt.
The faster the game, the smaller you become. And that's what's happened to Kansas. They've been sped up so much, they're now playing at the same level of the Colonels. That turnover differential. 15-2 points off those turnovers. A lot of them have been live ball. And then you get those cross matches in transition, and Cozy has just been lighting it up from beyond.
Stolen away. What a play it was, too, by Lewis. Saw it coming. Came over and helped out. Thrown to the floor. Stutz is going to be called on Selden Jr. And that goes down as the 8th steal at the other end already by Eastern Kentucky.
And it all starts with ball pressure. When you can pressure the basketball, you disrupt the angles and the passes that the opponent is trying to make for Kansas. They can't make crisp pinpoint passes. They're lobs, they're off target, and that's what creates opportunities for you to attack the basketball and get steals.
Frank Mason on the floor again for Kansas. Here's Cozy, who had the transition to the point this year after being a 2-guard. The rest of his career at EKU. Down to Stutz. Out to Nip with 5 on the shot clock. In the lane. Dishes. Stutz pinned under the cylinder, but a traveling call. No basket.
And that's a good defensive possession there. And Stutz a little bit hobbled on that. Again, a good job here of just being big, Black and Ellis, forcing the travel.
Frank Camp to Black, who scores underneath.
Well, I tell you, where would they be without Frank Camp, really, in this first half? Because he has given them some stability in that backcourt and dealing with this pressure.
That ends the 7-point run by the Colonels. Whip around pass, nearly stolen. Back to Stutz, and that's blocked by Wiggins. Here comes Kansas. Mason. Oh! Wiggins almost jumps out of the building. And a timeout called by the Colonels. Had the most electrifying play of the game on a lob to Andrew Wiggins. And a timeout to settle things down by Jeff Neubauer in Eastern Kentucky. Inside of 6 minutes to play in the first half.
You know, a really good timeout by Neubauer. Why? Because he didn't allow the momentum to build for Kansas. Eliminated it right away. Gets the opportunity to reset and refocus his group.
A switch off now, and it's Tariq Black on Cozy. Cozy down low, and Johnson unable to beat the shot clock. The first shot was blocked. No reset, of course, and a shot clock violation.
How impressive was that possession defensively for Kansas? I got to tell you, boy, Tariq Black, unbelievable job of containing the penetration of Cozy, then providing the help and getting the block shot.
Here's Wiggins soaring and rattling out, but Ellis with the putback.
But even that possession, the fact that you attack the rim allows you to play to your strength, which is that backboard. We've talked all game about the turnover differential. For Kansas, a +9 rebounding differential in this game.
The last 6 to the Jayhawks and a foul on Kansas outside.
And when you can get this attack, it forces the help, which creates those lanes to get to the offensive glass. Terrific job by Perry Ellis.
First foul on Wiggins. It'll be a 1-1 at the line for Marcus Lewis, a senior from Streamwood, Illinois. And this kid at the line is a leaper. I'm sure he took note of what we just saw with Wiggins at the other end, but Lewis is already assured of being in North Texas Final Four weekend for the slam dunk competition. He's already been voted in on some fan online voting because of one monster dunk from earlier in the year. He hits 2 free throws, and here's Wiggins at the other end, snapping it over to Tharp, who traveled.
another turnover. I mean, the only good thing, it's a dead ball turnover. It keeps Eastern Kentucky out of transition, because you can also get a sense, Jim, that Kansas is getting a little better feel for the quickness and the pace with which Eastern Kentucky plays in the half court. So the defense has gotten better. The question is, can their offense give their defense a chance by keeping them out of transition?
No basket from the floor for over 4 minutes for the Colonels. Trying to fend off this Kansas flurry, and that's a foul, and Lewis will go back for 2 more. And this time, foul call is on Black, his second. So Lewis, now 3 for 3. Conan, by the way, is doing a whole week of shows from Dallas, final 4 week. Conan Dallas Week starts Monday, March 31st at 11:10 Central, only on TBS. Very funny. Well, here's Lewis. And the last 4 have gone to the Colonels, all of them at the line by Marcus Lewis. And Mason lost it on the way in, but it's going to be a reach in on Lewis of Eastern Kentucky. His first.
And really, Mason and Franken have given Kansas a nice stretch here in terms of just controlling and slowing down the rhythm in the half court.
Here's Mason, a scorer in high school back in Petersburg, Virginia. Number 2 all-time scorer at Petersburg High School, behind the great Moses Malone.
Oh, wow. And how about the athletic display he put on yesterday at practice? He did 3 consecutive backflips.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. Then went up, got it from one of his teammates and slam dunked. Unbelievable.
That's how they ended practice, by the way, the shoot around here. They all knew it was coming. 3 backflips and a dunk. But he misses 2 free throws. Here's fadeaway time, and it spins out for Lewis. Almost got the lead back to 9. It's going to be timeout coming under 4 as Frank Cap is left open. He's hit that shot twice now.
And that's what's there. Great job of selling it in the back door. Good chemistry between Mason and Franken.
Walden back on the floor, set for a while with 2 fouls. Walden, a scorer for them, has an average of 14 a game, and only 2 in this one. Here's Cozy, floater, too strong. Ellis brings it up court. Underneath to Ellis, mismatch on Cozy, and the easy basket.
Yeah, so you see, as the game slows down, Kansas's size starts to become more of a factor. And then when you score, it allows you to set your defense and take away that 3-point shot that was really so instrumental to the early success of Eastern Kentucky.
Here's Lewis, with Wiggins defending. A 10-4 stretch for the Jayhawks. Lewis, tough shot, a little bit of a force. And Kansas trying to cut even deeper into that lead. Wiggins over Lewis, short, followed up and tapped around. This time Kansas gets the loose ball. Ellis with the jumper. Darius Johnson loses the handle. Kansas now getting scrappy, and a foul on the floor called on Walden, which will be his 3rd.
That is huge. You talked about it. Not only was he the defensive player of the year, the OVC, but he's their 2nd leading scorer. He has not been a factor, but probably won't play the rest of the half.
Hanging with Kansas, been leading virtually the entire half. Only a 2-0 lead for Kansas at the start. And they lob it again to Wiggins for a highlight.
A design play out of the timeout. And earlier I was talking about the faster the game, the smaller the teams become. Well, that means if you're playing up and down, you can't impose your will physically if you're Kansas, because you're playing a helter-skelter pace. You want to be able to make Eastern Kentucky feel you by playing a little bit more 5-on-5. And that's what you're seeing starting to to materialize here. They're starting to be able to separate on the interior.
They've missed all their shots from the field, Eastern Kentucky, for the last 7 minutes plus. And now the Jayhawks, with inside of a minute and a half to go, can take the lead. And that's going to be a foul on Orlando Williams.
It was a great delivery by Mason, and the beauty of having just a phenomenal athlete like Wiggins is you don't have to throw a perfect pass. You just got to give him a chance to go get it.
And Wiggins at the line to shoot one more. His brother Nick will be playing on this floor tonight for Wichita State. A sub on that undefeated Shocker team as Jeff Johnson checks in for the Colonels. And his older brother Mitchell had a very successful season as well this year. So they're in front now, Kansas 28-27.
And it's been the backup backcourt for Kansas really that's made the difference here.
Johnson says, take that. The man who's played more games in Eastern Kentucky history than anyone breaks the 7.5-minute drought and puts the Colonels back on top. With a minute to go in the half. Mason steps in, floats it, gets it.
That's been the area where Kansas is quietly starting to come back. It was 8 to 8 points in the paint about 7 minutes ago. It's now 20 to 8 in favor of Kansas.
Posey's been quiet for a while. Here he is. Thought about it. Comes back out with it. He's got a switch off now as he goes to Williams on the wing. Outside, Terrius Johnson. All air. Kansas can hold it for the last shot.
Good job. Barry Ellis talking to Mason. Bring it back out.
Wiggins. Kansas up by 2. And that's going to stay with the Colonels. Let's see what kind of shot they can get with just inside 5 seconds.
And just an unbelievable job. I'm saying they want to get the last shot, and Wiggins is like, I got this.
Corey Walden's going to come back in because he's a shooter, a scorer, and he's, as you said, been silenced with all these fouls. Only 2 points so far. Looking for an option here with inside 5 seconds to go. They go midcourt to Williams. Ellis defending. Williams pauses, shoots, and he draws the foul and will shoot 3.
How about the poise on that possession? He knew exactly how much time he had, and he also knew that they were going to try to contest. Watch him set up Traylor and Ellis there, and then just leans in enough. That's a 3-2, folks. Wow, what a big play, in essence, to end this half.
Yeah, with 0.4 seconds. He's going to get 3 at the line. He's 78%. Wow. 2 more. Chance to tie it. Averaging almost 10 a game, but scoreless so far. Now he's on the board. Stutz comes in probably to defend the inbounds pass.
You know, in a weird way, both teams are, and maybe that's how it should be if the game's all tied, but you're both going to feel, well, if you're Eastern Kentucky, you're tied, and your second best offensive player, Walden, and then Orlando Williams, they have only, you've really not been a factor, only combined for 3 points, so you got to feel like that's got to balance out, and if you're Kansas, the fact that you turned it over 13 times.
That ties it. Terrius Johnson comes in a little chess match here. These coaches not taking anything for granted with 0.4 of a second. As Andrew White III is in the backcourt and will launch it 3/4 court. Too late, even though it hit the back of the rim. Wouldn't have counted. Kansas closes 18-9. And we go to the locker rooms tied at 32.
On the season, and in conference play, they shot almost 41 from 3. So their offense has to now give their defense a chance.
First chance of the second half belongs to Kansas. They've not made a 3 in this game. They drive in, and Wiggins will be residing at the free throw line. And let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, I did have a chance to talk to Neubauer, even though we heard him in the locker room, and he said exactly what you said, Greg. He needs them to score more. He said Cozy's been effective, but Corey Walden, just 2 points, 3 fouls. He needs to step up in the second half. And just keep an eye on Eric Stutz. He hurt that right leg. He's had nagging injuries all year. He has a bandage on it now, but I was told he's good to go, guys.
Well, one more free throw coming here for Wiggins. Puts the Jayhawks back on top. And yes, Stutz starts the second half on the floor for the Colonels. Even with the nagging injuries.
And Jim, I will say this. Talking with Bill Self yesterday, he said his team hasn't guarded well this year. They lost 2 games late in the season where they scored 86 and 83. This is a game where you have to also give them credit defensively. They've been pretty good in the half court.
And driving in, Walden gives it up to Stutz and overshot it. He felt the pressure. Carr gives it up to Wiggins. Tapped up and in. And Kansas has its largest lead as Embiid watches from the bench.
There is nobody in America who has as quick a second jump as Andrew Wiggins. It's unbelievable how quickly he can recover and go back up.
Stutz, 3, yes. You wanted production from Stutz. He hits an open 3.
I think they've got to make shots. And again, 1, it allows you to set your defense and extend your pressure. And 2, it gives you some confidence that you can compete.
Giving it up. Selden to Ellis. Beautiful pass. Ellis finishes it off. Well, one thing Neubauer said yesterday at practice, we can keep Ellis to 8 points or fewer, we're going to win the game. Ellis has 11.
Maybe he meant in the second half.
Maybe that's what he meant. Yeah. There's Walden. He's been held in check with the 3 fouls, really curtailing his game, and a turnover.
And you can see the energy and the confidence seeping away right now offensively. And Stutz finally getting involved here, knocking down that triple. But as we talked about a little bit ago, the intensity picking up, and now the rhythm offensively. They're more comfortable, Kansas, at attacking this pressure, in part because it has also, it's slowed down. It's not nearly as intense as it was that first 8-10 minutes.
Double up on Tharp. And a timeout called from the bench. Self is frustrated. But his team has taken the lead here in the second half. Bill Self yesterday saying this team at times has looked really good, but can also at times be really bad. It is evidenced by some of these games where they allow teams to put magnificent numbers from the floor.
And to your point, Jim, anytime your best players are freshmen, you're going to have what freshmen bring, which is inconsistency. They have higher ceilings potentially, but they also have lower ceilings. And that's at times what we've seen from this great Kansas team.
By the way, a 4th foul on Walden as he goes to the bench. And here's another foul against the Colonels. So Walden has been taken out of this game. And this one's going to be on Terrius Johnson. His second. Puts Ellis on the stripe. And that just rolls off. There's Walden. So at this point, exasperated. As you mentioned, a defensive player of the year in the Ohio Valley. And his defensive play in this game has been whistled 4 times for fouls.
Now let's see, as we talked about, the fact now that Kansas is a little bit more comfortable in dealing with the Colonels' pressure. Can the Colonels now figure out a way to flip the script offensively and put the Jayhawks on their heels?
McGlone is back on the floor for the Colonels, number 5. And Cozy again has not scored since the 8:45 mark of the first half, and he wants some action. made that shot to start the game, but they're not dropping now. In fact, that's only actually 2 attempts since the 8:45 mark in the first half.
And that's the point. It's not always about your ability to contest shots. It's your ability to take them away. As Stark there knocks down that mid-range. And Kansas, they're switching all these ball screens, and their bigs, Black on that possession, did a great job of moving his feet and keeping Cozy in front.
Inside, Stutz, and one. Lewis fed the post, and Stutz delivered the goods.
And here, just a good job. And it's one of the few times we've seen that interior pass from Eastern Kentucky. That's the way you have to attack Kansas, who like Eastern Kentucky. They do like to pressure. They do like to disrupt in the half court. That's one way to get defense on his heels when you can attack towards the rim.
That was the first foul on Ellis in a three-point play. Trims the lead to 3. Selden bouncing it down inside to Ellis. And he is graceful down low. He can able to body control it to get the open shot.
Yeah, you can see the point of emphasis from Bill Self, too. That ball's got to touch the paint. And now, at one time, even in points in the paint, plus 18, that has been the focal point for the Jayhawks.
Darius Johnson challenging Black. And it's Wiggins, who is wrestled to the floor by Stutz. And he'll be called for it. The first 4-minute block of the second half belongs to Kansas. Jayhawks up 5. Packers in the house will be playing tonight in the first game of the second session against Cal Poly as Black knocks it down with the dunk.
And that's all because the pressure has subsided, and now they're able to make those direct post feeds, really starting to wear this Colonel's team down.
Lewis wanting to take on Wiggins. Waiting, and working it back outside. Darius Johnson hits a 3.
And the interesting thing right now, Jim, even though it feels like Kansas is in total control, it's a 4-point game.
That's right.
It's not out of the realm of possibility for Eastern Kentucky.
Really led almost the entire first half, and that pass was never touched, but they may have a foul call underneath. And that's going to be a call against Stutz.
Yeah, it wasn't touched because Stutz didn't allow the release by Black on that pass. Actually, a really good decision here by Selden. You see how he just held him there. Didn't allow him to release towards the basketball. Good call by the official.
No Kansas turnovers in the last 10 minutes of action. Going back to the first half as Wiggins finds Black open. And it's going to be called on Wiggins. And there's your turnover.
Yeah. Right on cue. And, you know, one of the reasons that happens is because Eastern Kentucky really hasn't changed their defense. And so you get a cadence, if you will, and a feel for what they're doing, which allows you to be more comfortable with the attack. That's why you see teams oftentimes switching their defenses up. You want to make the offense think, not allow them to play off of instinct.
Second on Wiggins. Good job by Stutz holding his ground on that one to draw it. Here's Lewis. And McClone is there to retrieve it. 7 on the shot clock. McClone back up and a 3. Back of the rim. Darius Johnson.
And remember, the longer this game goes and it stays close, how will Kansas handle the pressure? They're the overwhelming favorites in this game. And I'm sure they know what happened to Duke earlier.
Wow, what a shot. Darius Johnson brings it back down to 2. Able to wiggle free for that one.
Well, let's see if any adjustments are made defensively by Eastern Kentucky.
Wiggins backs up, hits the jumper, no. And it's Cozy on the long rebound. So a little flurry now by the Colonels. Bounce pass, Stutz, and this game is tied. It's tied at 45, a 7-point run.
And offensively, looking more so like they did when they started the game, spacing you out in that pick and roll weak side where there's no help.
Selden back of the rim, and Lewis and the Colonels.
And what's Kansas doing, Jim? They've gotten away from attacking the paint now, starting to settle for jump shots.
Open. It's Terrius Johnson, and he hits the three. And a timeout, Kansas. 10 unanswered by the Colonels. What a run.
But now you see the new life in Eastern Kentucky.
They start to Traylor. Traylor shot. No go. And Black able to soar over everyone for the putback.
I'm just bigger than you. That's all that was by Tariq Black.
Yeah, Tariq Black playing in the NCAA Tournament for the 4th straight year. The first 3 years for Memphis. Graduate student, comes here to play for a year and has made quite a contribution. As the newcomer of the year in the conference, Stutz. And there's Black. Oh, he thought it was clean, but it'll send Stutz to the line for 2.
And he's not alone. I thought that was a pretty good block as well after seeing the replay. But here, again, why do they get this? Because they attack the rim. Oh, yeah! And they allow that size to take effect here. And Black, tell you what, he has really been solid today. And here on the block, I think that's a pretty clean block there.
It's his 3rd foul instead. And Stutz, who has 11 points, come on in the second half. We'll shoot one more. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Visit the Coke Zero social arena in March Madness Live. Colonels back up by 3.
And it's, to me, now their offense will give their defense some juice because now they've shown themselves that they can score. And now you'll see, I think, the intensity pick up in the half court.
Selden looking for help. To Black. Oh! And again, Black. Such a physical presence inside. And he points in the direction of Jamari Traylor and says, thank you very much.
The ebb and flow of this game has been really something to watch by both teams. Turned into a bit of a chess match here.
Posey. And it's Traylor. Setting up Kansas at the other end. Traylor dumps it underneath. Black again. Has to come out to Frank Camp. And that bounces out. Stutz secures it with the 2 hands. Back to Stutz. Back to the corner. The 3. No. Lewis had a good look.
But the game, again, remember we saw it the first half. Tempo just a little quicker than maybe Kansas would like, allowing Eastern Kentucky to not have to bang as much on the interior.
Timeout on the floor. A 12-4 stretch for Eastern Kentucky to go up by 1. And we're back after this word from your local station.
It's going to take a combination. When Kansas loses a little bit of focus and they get perimeter happy, that's when they allow Eastern Kentucky to have some impact.
Williams on the floor and a timeout called. Neubauer's happy with that on the floor. It's Orlando Williams who was able to fall on it and get the timeout.
Yep and no.
Jeff Neubauer, though, trying to somehow will his team to the 8th time ever in which a 15 would have beaten a 2. Happened 7 times in tournament history.
And if I'd have told Coach Neubauer yesterday with about 10 minutes and 35 seconds to go, you'd be up by 1, I got a feeling he might think I was on something.
He would have loved that scenario. Terrius Johnson's 3 rattles out. Actually, I got the sense talking to the coach, he thought they could pull off the shocker.
You know, and I think that's what we're seeing more and more with March Madness is the confidence of some of these lesser-known programs, the belief and confidence in their abilities.
Orlando Williams loved what he had done there defensively, and he thought it was clean, but there was contact, and it was a second foul. I do think, how about this as a theory, that all of these North Dakota States and Mercers, these kids are well aware of the full picture, and it gives them confidence. As Traylor scores on the inbound pass and a foul.
Unbelievable job of that baseline execution there. And then also the discipline. And I tell you what, Frank Camp has had a solid basketball game for Kansas. The freshman has just been terrific, good decision-making, and controlling tempo. You know, that's what Kansas has done better by attacking that paint.
Third foul on Stutz, who comes away with it off the missed free throw. Do you buy that argument that the Cinderellas help create more Cinderellas?
I think Cinderella is dead. I don't think there's any such thing anymore because of the confidence and because we just have far more parity. These schools now, they get to play a lot of games on television. They're not in awe of these other kids. Plus, they play against one another over the AAU circuit when they're younger. So that gives these kids the belief, and that's what it takes. You have to truly believe that you can compete.
Orlando Williams hits the shot. And back. Eastern Kentucky up by 2. McClone is called for that foul. And here's a kid, Williams, a senior from Cincinnati, who hit 10 out of 15 in the Ohio Valley Tournament from three-point land.
And one of the other things, he's also bought into coming off the bench to transfer from Miami of Ohio. And Coach Newbar talked about how important that was for their team.
And one more coming from Grand Camp. Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, you talked about Cinderellas creating other Cinderellas. I spoke to Eastern Kentucky earlier today, and the players told me they watched a lot of the games yesterday, and they watched the Duke Mercer upset today, and they said they saw that upset, and they're looking to pull one here today, guys. So, as you said, it might be a motivating factor watching these teams get knocked off.
If they can do it, we can do it.
Listen,
that's got to be the mantra.
Jim, that's how all kids who play sports in general, they see somebody that they can identify with, do something special, then they start to believe they can do it.
Here's Johnson. He hits a three. Second time in the game. And now Eastern in this game has hit 10 from the outside. Kansas, none.
And we talked about it earlier. As this game gets later and later, the pressure rises for the Jayhawks.
Here's Traylor splitting defenders, driving in, and a foul on the Colonels. Basket counts.
Wow, that's
chance to tie it at the line.
Heck of a play there, too. And this is just a great example of body control. Watch how he just slides to the right there to avoid taking that contact on directly.
That was the third foul on Johnson. Carius Johnson's third. So Traylor, sophomore from Chicago, to tie the game at 56. And here's Walden. Perhaps he can get his game into a rhythm. It hasn't been the case so far. 4 fouls.
Yeah, and we talked about it coming out of the halftime. Kansas has only turned it over one time in this half. This has been about Eastern Kentucky's offense in the second half. They've been far more effective. They've got more balance, putting more pressure on the Jayhawks.
And still Cozy has been held scoreless now for 20 minutes since the 8:45 mark of the first half.
It's true, but his presence is still having an impact because you have to honor him, and that's one less defender that provides help.
Here is Cozy. Behind the back and almost got away from it. And a heads-up play there by Jeff Johnson to keep it in their control as Cozy has it swatted away. Kansas converged and denied, and Frank Camp comes back out to Selden Jr. in the paint, and he's fouled.
Man, are we watching a volleyball match? We talk about a spike on that block.
7 blocks by Kansas in the game. And the freshman from Roxbury, Massachusetts, high school teammate of Nerlens Noel, puts Kansas up by 1 with another one to come. Is your bracket already busted? Hey, I know it is. Let's be honest. Or if you didn't get your bracket in on time, it's not too late, folks. You can join the Capital One NCAA March Madness round-by-round game now at NCAA.com. Oh! And a follow-up by Traylor. He's had a big half. That was like a volleyball move at the net, too.
We talk about momentum plays. Blocks and alley-oops create as much momentum along with the three-pointer as any play in basketball.
Spiking it down, and Traylor gets the rebound at the other end.
And it's games like this for young teams that if you find a way, elevate you.
Wiggins and one. All season, we've heard about Jabari Parker. And
if they're able to somehow pull this thing out, it'll be a tremendous lesson for this team because they got hitting them out pretty good in that first half.
Wiggins now with 17, and the Jayhawks on a 9-point run. As Williams drives in and draws the foul on Wiggins. Williams will go to the line as Wiggins picks up his third. Get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament at NCAA.com. Okay, Williams with one more. And the ball tapped out and tied up, and it stays at this end of the floor.
How about that effort there by Williams off of his miss to get that tie up and keep possession for Eastern Kentucky. The shooter always has the best idea whether or not that's going to go, and just the quickness to get in before Selden could call timeout.
Selden was trying to call for a timeout, but it wasn't answered. So trying to make this a good trip. That is Stutz drawing the action.
And that was leg on leg for Stutz there.
Ellis whistled for that. His second. And just the 15 foul, so they'll inbound underneath. Came back from 7 down early in this half to regain the lead. It was 6 a moment ago. Now it's 5. Stutz finds Lewis. Driving in, wild shot. Pulled away by Traylor.
And a great job defensively by Traylor of not bailing him out on that wild shot.
Frank Camp. Over to Ellis, and now to Wiggins. Wiggins shot, plucked away by Traylor, who's having a huge game too. He's got 10 points, 9 of them in the second half.
And he's also done a terrific job defensively for the Jayhawks.
It's Lewis to Walden.
And this is a situation where you'd like to see Walden get a little more aggressive.
Posey trying to challenge Wiggins, and the shot was too strong. Inside of 6. Posey at the other end missed his last 5 shots from the field. Frank Camp followed up by Ellis, and it comes out. Ooh, he had the dunk put back.
And not only that, I thought Posey should have tried to get possession of that basketball. That's a transition opportunity, especially when you're starting to struggle a little bit in the half court.
Let's see if the Colonels have another spurt in them. Oh, it's off the hands of Lewis. And Lewis has turned it over.
Looked like he wanted to go with it before he actually had possession.
Who knows? They'll empty out almost 20,000 and bring 20,000 more fans in. We get to stay.
Well, I was going to ask you, do we need tickets?
That pass around our necks right now we're wearing. Hopefully they'll allow us for 2 more.
This is the first time they've changed their defense. Coming out of that timeout, they go to a 1-3-1 half court. And that you're susceptible to the diagonal lob with this 1-3-1. Let's see if Kansas can recognize that if they stay in it.
Walden almost came up with a steal. As they come back out to Tharp.
That's right. Well, they missed Ellis. They had him there.
Here's the jump shot. And a rebound to Stutz. That was Selden who had the open look.
And remember, if you're Eastern Kentucky, yeah, you want turnovers, but really what you want are perimeter jump shots.
The Colonels haven't made a basket in 4.5.
Just at this stage, with as physical as Kansas has been, they don't have the legs or the quickness that they had early on. It'll be a challenge for them.
Here's Stutz. Nice shot. There, the junior from Newburgh, Indiana, has had a decent game in here for sure. 15 points and 12 of those points in the second half.
And you can see a little bit of confusion right now for Kansas in attacking this 1-3-1.
Lewis almost taking it away at the 4-minute mark. Frankamp, 3-point shot. Tapped around to Cozy.
Good job defensively in transition as well by Kansas.
But Walden jumps to the spot and gets the shot to go. That is Walden. Only his second basket of the game, and it's a one-possession game with 3.5 left.
And they're going to stay in that 1-3-1. Again, Kansas hasn't really figured out how to attack it.
Selden. And that rattles out. Tipped up. No. Traylor is fouled and one. And that is going to be it for Walden.
How about the effort? Talking about a difference in this game. Plus 18 on the backboard. How about Kansas has gotten 13 offensive rebounds on 21 misses. And that's a phenomenal ratio of attacking the offensive glass.
And again, that foul going to break was Walden's 5th. Backdoor they go, and Kansas knocked it out of bounds, and the officials don't agree with who touched it last, but it's going to stay at this end.
Yeah, but great job. Getting that hand out is Frankamp. That is textbook fundamental defense on backdoor cuts there, and it looked like it did go off of Black on the bounce off his knee right there. Good call by the officials.
Here's Stutz. Stutz short with the tricky layup. And a 6-point lead and possession inside 3 minutes.
And they've gone back again to that 1-3-1. The other advantage, though, Kansas hasn't attacked it well, but they have been able to attack the offensive glass.
It's Selden. Gives it up to Black. Tarek Black, the newcomer of the year in the Big 12. Cozy, the Stutz back outside. Johnson, he's been something else in this half. That's 3 he's hit from the outside.
And they will not go away.
11 threes for the Colonels. Kansas 0 for 7 for the game from outside, but dominating in the paint. Selden almost saw it go the other way by the whistle.
Kansas will shoot double bonus from here on out. But that was, as you mentioned, Jim, that was close to being turnover number 15. Wow, that's looked pretty clean from that angle.
The foul is on Johnson, Terrius Johnson. That is a huge loss for the Colonels. Has fouled out. Fouls out with 15 points. 6 above his average. 2 at the line for Selden. Get the most complete coverage of every team in your bracket and the tournament's best moments with the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Fuel your passion with Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device today. So they've lost now. Terrius Johnson and Corey Walden, 2 starters. And there again is Traylor. Over the block. And those 2 have been an unstoppable tandem in this half. And Kansas has its largest lead. Posey. Not this time. And the Jayhawks finally starting to feel it.
How about the bookends? Traylor and Black have just been terrific all game, but particularly here in this second half.
With a minute and a half. McClune almost able to free it. 10 on the shot clock for Frank Camp. To Traylor. Why not? Why not when you're having your career game? 15 for Traylor. 14 coming in the second half. Williams. And a minute to go, and the Jayhawks are now well positioned to set up a Sunday encounter with Stanford. Not believing this kid, Jamari Traylor.
Good decision by Frank Camp to find him and then able to knock that jumper down. I'll tell you what, he has been so good, so clutch. Yeah, you've earned a reason to smile here today, young fella.
15 points and 14 rebounds. He averages 4 and 4 on the season. You'd never believe it. And Wiggins with his 4th dunk of the game.
I'll tell you what, though, you got to tip your hat to Eastern Kentucky. What a heck of a performance they put on against one of the favorites to make it to North Texas. And Wiggins led them.
Turning it over with regularity in the first 15 minutes of this game. Have turned it over only once the last 23 minutes.
And we talked about at the top how styles make fights. Well, Kansas continued to attack the body. Nice finish.
And Lewis says, you know what? I'm not going to be blanked from the field in this game. I'm going to show you why I'm going to Dallas in the slam dunk competition. Speaking of dunks, one more. And it's Traylor. Who else? Posey. He's got a 3 and a timeout called by the Colonels with 18 seconds to go and a 9-point Jayhawk lead.
Kept going with those body blows, and eventually it just wore down a smaller yet game Eastern Kentucky squad.
They're going to put Frank Camp on the line at the other end. But a nod again to Coach Neubauer and his team. He is a former captain at LaSalle when he joined Speedy Morris's team as a freshman at LaSalle back in the 89-90 season. His team, led by Lionel Simmons, had the best record in Division I that year when it was all said and done. 30-2.
Yes.
But you guys won the championship.
Well, we were fortunate, but he also played with a guy, Doug Overton, was on that team. They had an excellent group. Doug and Lionel obviously both ended up playing in the NBA for a long time. And how pleasant was he to be around yesterday? Just great energy, and you can see how excited he is about this group, and what a terrific performance.
And his mom and dad drive up from the New Orleans area, Slidell, to be here. One sister lives in Columbia. Another one came in from Richmond. And his team put up quite a show here as Cozy.
I think I misspoke. I meant Lionel Simmons. Lionel Hollins went to my high school. There you go. And I played for him in the NBA.
Well, the Jayhawks have the victory. It was a hard-fought one, too, and Bill Self knows it. And he's going to congratulate Neubauer on his team's effort. We have Stanford and Kansas now all set